Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Alex Heuer. St. Louis musician Jay Farrar's band Sunvolt is out with a new album called Union. It blends elements of rock, folk, and country and takes a decidedly political point of view about divisions and inequities in this country. Farrar is originally from Belleville and was a founding member of the alt-country band Uncle Tupelo, and Jay Farrar joins me in studio. Welcome.
Hello.
What was your approach with writing this album?
I was kind of just pulling ideas from headlines, really. There are songs in there where I was also kind of assuming a character, so writing songs from a perspective of, there's a song called Reality Winner. I found her story compelling. And also there's another song where I was writing from a different perspective, someone else's perspective, a song called The Symbol. So I was really just kind of taking in ideas from reading headlines and putting it back out. That's kind of the tradition of the bard, I guess. It's the, kind of musical background I grew up with, folk music, protest music, Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie. What
headlines come to mind?
In a song like, let's see, the 99, it started out, I was reading about the Dakota pipeline protests, and, I think also mixed in some of my memories of the Ferguson protests and even going back to some of the Occupy protests, where 1% of the population controls over 40% of the wealth. So lots of numbers.
Let's take a listen to the 99. This is the 99 from Sunvolt.
Journalist in jail, covering the scenes, the profit columns rise for the corporate machines. Take the stand now, protest and holler, desecration of the land for the almighty dollar. 99%, it's a trickle-down world like you're stuck in cement. Balance hangs over, the 99 is down here. Balance hangs over, 99 is down here. Fill up the jails, but it won't make a dent. The sins don't wash away in the sea of discontent. Already spent, no way to get ahead, 'cause it's already spent.
In that song, you write and sing, imbalance hangs over, the 99% is down here, and you also reference stuck in cement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, while not all of the songs on this album are political, it definitely does have a political bent to it.
It does. A song like Union, tries to encapsulate maybe more of a middle ground. My father was always put forth this ideology that everybody should sort of participate in something that helps our country, helps our society. So that's kind of where that song Union came about. There's a lot of forces pushing divisions in our country right now. So that's why I kind of turned back to something my father had always put forth as a way to bring people together.
When you write these songs, Do you hope it, other than being something that somebody wants to listen to, do you hope that it accomplishes something, or is it just meant as it's a song, it's a critique, it's great to listen to it?
It's kind of that, going back to the idea that it's just a tradition of the bard. It's kind of what I've grown up being commonplace, being around music that kind of asks questions, and especially, I don't have any lofty goals really. It's just more about, hey, this is going on. Hopefully it just brings awareness to what's going on.
One of the most interesting things about this new album is that you recorded some of the tracks at the Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and also at the Mother Jones Museum in Mount Olive, Illinois, which is just about a 45-minute drive from here. Why did you take that approach to record in those places?
There were several reasons, and one being that I just wanted to get out of the studio, so there was a field trip aspect to it all. There was that, but I also wanted to highlight the contributions that those folks had made, Mother Jones and Woody Guthrie. And, some of the material I was writing seemed like it was aligned with their viewpoints.
Let's start with Mother Jones, of course, a well-known labor activist who actually did quite a bit in Belleville during the protests about conditions of working in mines. But what is it about Mother Jones that spoke to you?
I was really just curious to find out more about her, I remember going years back, driving up Interstate 55, and you'd see this little hand-painted sign saying Mother Jones Monument. It was almost like folk art or something. And then, when I found out there was an actual museum, I just thought, okay, road trip, field trip, let's get out of the studio, let's go.
What about Woody Guthrie?
I've had a long-standing interest in Woody's music. My parents, my mom in particular, had his records, so there's just a stark quality and to Woody and his ideology. There's also a precursor to Woody Guthrie that gets a part of this new symbol recording on the song "Rebel Girl." That's Joe Hill, who was kind of a precursor to Woody Guthrie, union activist, songwriter of the early 1900s. So I'd never heard his version of that song, so I just put music to his lyrics.
I know that part of your recording there at the Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa was next to his lyrics of "This Land Is Your Land." What is it about that song that resonates with you?
It does resonate. It puts forth the idea that, this country belongs to everyone, and everyone has to kind of speak up and say something if they want to affect change.
And this is your way of saying something.
It is.
NPR right now has an ongoing series called American Anthem, and maybe a month ago or so, they took a look at Woody Guthrie's "This Land Is Your Land," and one of the things that people have said is that they think that's a more appropriate national anthem than the Star-Spangled Banner. And while that's all well and good, the Guthrie family said, "Nah, that's okay. This land is your land is one for the people, not for the government." And I'm curious of your reaction to that.
I'd be happy either way. I can see the point of the Guthrie family. That definitely is true. But there's a lot of other songs that would be better than Star Spangled Banner. Great song though it is, but America the Beautiful would be easier for everyone to sing as well.
Is there a particular passage or scene that Guthrie paints in This Land Is Your Land that you either incorporate into the new album Union, or that just means something special to you?
It's really, there was a poetic quality to Woody's work, maybe more of a working class poetic quality that resonates, I think. But really, it's going back to Woody's influence on Bob Dylan. So I'm kind of getting it. It's interesting. I often find out about real sources of inspiration through other artists. So in the case of Woody Guthrie, I heard about his influence on Bob Dylan first, and then went back and checked it out in my parents' record collection, and It's just, I think the idea that you're out there writing, Woody's travels, and I found that very interesting and appealing.
Seems like you've done a lot of research for this album.
Some, just, again, just soaking up headlines and going to a couple of museums. But
well, then I guess maybe absorbing the news and absorbing things in a way that a lot of people might not.
And I was probably one of those people at times. The recording process, being in Sunvolt, would often be different. Where I would, especially with the last two Sunvolt recordings, where I would kind of focus more on a type of music, whether it was blues or honky-tonk country.
That's something that I was curious about, is your journey over the last three albums. Each of them, of course, sounds like you because it is you, but you had the honky-tonk country, the blues, and now the most recent album, Union. And I'm curious of your path through these three albums in you as a musician and wanting to create some great music.
I just find that I like to drill down into one thing and focus on it. It seems to really spur the creative process, and you really get to. It is almost like a project or something, where you're just drilling down, focused on it, finding out as much about it. With the two previous Sunvolt records, maybe it was more the musicality of it, or I was finding out more about pedal steel guitar or blues guitar tunings, just finding out those elements. But yeah, this time around it was more of a folk music, protest influences.
And how did you approach the instrumentation in Union?
For this record, Union, I kind of wanted to get away from playing a lot of alternate tunings. I did use some, but probably one of the primary differences with this Sunvolt record from the previous two is that there's a new band chemistry on this recording. Chris Frame is playing a lot of the lead guitar solos, and also new drummer, Mark Patterson.
I'm talking with Jay Farrar, frontman of Sunvolt. The new album is Union. A little bit earlier you mentioned that you were identifying with the working class. We heard that certainly in the 99. And I've always thought of you as an artist who identifies with the working class, even back to your Uncle Tupelo days with Graveyard Shift, Factory Belt. But it's not always something that you've identified with. You haven't, to me at least, always identified with the working class. Why a return to this?
I guess it's cyclical, Again, my family was definitely bedrock middle class, but so many of the artists that I admire, whether it's Woody Guthrie or John Lennon, always sort of gave a nod to the working class.
How does your Belleville upbringing continue to influence your music?
Good question. I guess there's a Midwestern sensibility in there somewhere. People have been asking me about, at least trying to see all sides on this recording. It's not like taking one ideology and running with it. It's really trying to understand, a lot of the turmoil that's going on, and just throwing it out there with my particular perspective, I guess.
What is the Midwest sensibility?
It may be to try to find a middle ground, I think. Obviously, there's a lot, obviously geographically, but also just in terms of, everyone in the Midwest has relatives that are maybe on a different side of the political spectrum as they are. So you have to kind of find a way to coexist and get along.
The album isn't all political. One of the songs, The Reason, didn't strike me as political. Let's take a listen.
If ever there was a reason to dance around the sun that you may discover in time, you may need to cut and run. You say you like rainy weather, like they have in the Northwest, or maybe California, where everything ever there was a reason to get the lead out of your feet, to the songs of saints and sinners, take the bitter with the sweet. You can see the rainbows, something more than colored sky. All the fury of the downpour can be a blessing in disguise.
Jay Farrar, it sounds like the reason to me may have been written to a family member. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I definitely, was probably thinking in terms of both of my kids, really. And there's that ambivalence when your kids become adults, and you know that they're gonna face a lot of challenges, but you're also excited for them, knowing that there's going to be so many great experiences headed their way. There's kind of a tradition of that type of writing. Bob Dylan did a song, Forever Young, I think. Even Tom Petty's song, Free Fallin', is kind of, I think, maybe written about one of his daughters. So I decided to give that tradition a go.
You, of course, still live in St. Louis. You're the kind of musician who could live anywhere in the country, I think, and be successful. Why do you continue to live here?
St. Louis has a lot going for it. I just came from Brooklyn, and maybe Brooklyn of 20 years ago I found to be kind of exciting, but I just came from Cherokee Street yesterday, and I find the energy down on Cherokee to be, very exciting, better than Brooklyn at this point.
What is your assessment of the music scene right now in St. Louis?
Maybe I'm not the best guy to ask. There's a lot of, it's diversified for sure, but when I was a few decades younger, I got out more than I do now. But maybe in the next phase of my life, I'll be getting out more. We'll see.
What do you mean, the next phase of your life?
Kids are going to college.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you like touring?
I do. There's an element of practicing your craft, where you get out and you do your job every night, sort of thing. So, look forward to that. The camaraderie of hanging out with folks, friends, getting to see people you don't normally see much around the country. So, I'm looking forward to it.
What about the promotion aspect of music? I've talked with authors before, and they're really into writing the book, but then when it comes time for the tour and doing onstage interviews, it's something that they wrote a couple of years ago, and they're just not as excited about the talking aspect of what they've written. Where do you fall into doing interviews and the like? I was more of an introvert probably, and a lot of my writing was probably introspective, but as time has rolled on, I've found a way to, again, middle ground, I think, just to, you have to, if you want to create, you have to be able to talk about it, so. Another song on the album is Devil May Care. What can you tell me about that one?
Probably midway through the writing process, I realized that there had to be some balance between the politically oriented songs and there had to be another side. So songs like Devil May Care and The Reason sort of represent, me getting back to finding inspiration just from listening to the music that I find inspiring, whether it was The Replacements or the Rolling Stones or The Who, and that the essence of those bands and finding inspiration there. So Devil May Care, lyrically, I was just kind of having fun looking at music equipment boxes and just all the colorful language they use to describe their, amazing tones and stuff like that. So it was kind of a different way of writing as well.
Let's listen to it. This is Devil May Care.
Turn around. devil may care, and the devil may care when the devil comes around. Clean with the dirty to break up style, class A discreet awakening, dynamic rhythm and high gain beliefs, daily Mardi Gras just beginning. No artifacts, just melody reigns, compression drivers pushing air, phantom power and faders up, keeping time, keeping sane. And the devil may care, and the devil may care when the devil makes his rounds. The devil may care, and the devil may care when the devil comes around.
That's Devil May Care from Sunvolt. Jay Farrar is here with me in the studio. And Jay, it has been a pleasure to talk with you.
Likewise. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The new album is called Union, and it's available now, including on vinyl and streaming services.
Stock all the same, just make it rhyme. And the devil may care, and the devil may care, and the devil may...
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.